I'm John, welcome to my channel, Disquieting Dragons, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about 5 horror hidden gems that you should probably check out. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world. Hope you had a fantastic Christmas. I'm out on Cannock Chase today going for a good old hike because I feel like I ate every roast potato and pigs in blanket on earth on Christmas Day, so yeah, I need to get some exercise in, I reckon. But yeah, today's video I'm going to be talking about 5, I've called them hidden gems, but there's some really quite well regarded authors in this list. It's just books that I don't really hear booktubers talk about, but they're definitely worth your time. But we'll just find somewhere a bit more off the path. I'll talk to you about the first one. So one of the things I really dislike with hidden gem videos is when you see something that you really like the look of and you look for a second-hand copy and it's £75 for a dog-eared copy with half the pages and no cover. Oh, it boils my blood, it really does. So all the books on this list I have checked, they're all available on Kindle, really reasonable prices. You'll have to check your own region. I've only been able to check in the UK, and not all of them have print editions, but the ones that do, it appears that they're still in print, or at least easily available. So yeah, if any of these books sound like you'd enjoy them, you should be able to get a copy of them pretty easily. So the first book I'd like to talk about is The Voices by F.R. Tallis. This takes place in London during the summer of 1976. Those people my age at least, I was a little baby during that summer, and it was one of the hottest summers ever on record. The story follows a family, Christopher Norton, who is a film composer, his wife, and their very young baby daughter. And Christopher, he's a film composer and he wants to build a studio in this old Victorian house. They find a house, they get it for a good price. Don't you always in a horror story always get it for a good price? And they move in, they start working, and as the nights get hotter and hotter and they're all getting quite, a bit tetchy because they can't sleep and everything, they're in this house and they have the baby monitor, and they start hearing strange knocks coming through the baby monitor, and they go and investigate and they can't find anything. And after a few nights of the knocks, it progresses to voices start coming through this baby monitor, and of course they go through to see the baby and they can't see anything, but it escalates and gets worse and worse for them. So if haunted houses are your thing, it's a really good book, really creepy, really atmospheric. The fact that the main way of scaring you is through such an everyday item is just bloody terrifying. This one, I don't often get spooked by horror books, unfortunately, but this one really creeped me out. I thought it was very well written, and I really don't hear many people talking about it. So yeah, if haunted houses and ghosts are your kind of thing, definitely check this one out, and that's The Voices by F.R. Tallis. The next book I'd like to talk about is The Ouija Man by N.P. Cuniff. This story, it follows a struggling writer, and his publisher is really pushing for him to finish a book. It's been quite a while since he released something of worth. So the writer, his name is Rick Rooney, at the behest of his agent, he goes to Western Ireland into a cottage in this little village because the solitude and the peace might help him, might become his muse and might help him write this his next bestseller. Anyway, Rick, he finds this cottage and he settles in. He decides to go take a walk into the local village to get some food at the pub, and he starts talking to these locals, and they find out that he's a writer and all that kind of thing, and one thing leads to another, and they go into the back room of this pub and they find this old spirit board, and they start messing about with it, and the events of the evening take quite a turn. It really freaks out these local men, and Rick, he goes back to his cottage and strange things start to happen. And as the strange occurrences go on and get stranger and more dramatic, he finds out about a local family and a curse and this traumatic event that happened, and things go from there. Excellent book, really well written. I really enjoyed this one. It's a bit spooky, very atmospheric with the location and the way that the book is written. As you know by now, I adore folk horror, and this was very much up my street. But yeah, if you want to try something by a lesser known author, really, really good book and well worth checking out, and that's The Ouija Man by N.P. Cannock. The next book on the list is The Coffin Path by Catherine Clements. This story, it follows our main character, Mercy Booth. She's a woman who works on a farm with her father, and this farm is situated up on the moors in England. I think it's set in about the 17 or 1800s, so it's like a historical horror story. And one evening or late afternoon, Mercy is out walking on the old coffin path, which runs from their farm and their house up to this like stone circle on the moors, and she sees this ghost in the fog, and it spooks her out a little bit, but she manages to get home, and she tries not to let it worry her. But then a stranger appears knocking on her door asking for work, and reluctantly she lets him in, and he turns out to be a good worker. But over time the stories entwine and mysteries unfold and strange things happen in this house, like precious items go missing. And as the stranger things happen, Mercy starts to really think that someone's watching her when no one's there. If you like atmosphere in your ghost stories, this one has it in abundance. It's one of the most atmospheric, beautifully written books I've ever read. The way that the moors and the fog become almost the main character, fantastically done. If historical ghost stories are your thing, if you like Michelle Paver, people like that, definitely check this one out, and that's The Coffin Path by Catherine Clements. The next book that I'd like to talk about is Full Moon by Matt Drabble. This book follows our main character, Tyler Clayton, and he's a prison officer. And with his colleagues, he's doing a transfer from one prison to another. And at the last minute, this old-time gangster-type character gets put onto the list of prisoners needed to transfer. Tyler, this sets all sorts of alarm bells ringing, but they sort out what they need to do and they're on their way in this armoured bus. Anyway, they get a call on the way and they're like redirected over the moors. Really desolate, isolated place. So yeah, Tyler, he's experienced and he's expecting the worst. And as you can probably tell, bad things start to happen and they find themselves stranded on the moors after a failed breakout attempt. Anyway, even though he's stuck on the moors with a career criminal, that's not the only thing that's on these moors. And by the name of the book, you can probably tell what it is. Yep, it's werewolves. So criminals, werewolves, he's got a lot to deal with. This book, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. It's like the set pieces are big and brash and a bit daft, arguably. If you like old 80s horror, I think you'd probably really enjoy this. If you like people like Sean Hudson, yeah, I think this could be right up your street. If you think Con Air with werewolves, you're not far wrong. It's a great book and I highly recommend it. It is part of a trilogy. I haven't read the second or third book yet, but yeah, highly recommend this one. And we're on to book 5 of my list, which is Sallow Bend by Alan Baxter. This book, I'll be quite honest, if you like Ronald Malfi or Stephen King and the way that they write small town horror, read this. You'll absolutely love it. It's a brilliantly written book and it encapsulates that small town feelings just as well as Stephen King and Ronald Malfi. Well worth reading this one. We follow our main character, who's a caretaker at a school, and 2 girls go missing from this town, and the whole town is worried and they go out searching for these girls. And then they just suddenly turn up one night and they seem a bit odd. They're not quite the same as they were before. And the town thinks it's brilliant that they've been found and all that kind of stuff, but the girls reappearing, it's just the start of their trouble. The carnival comes into town and the residents of Sallow Bend, they put the bad events to the back of their mind and they go and enjoy this carnival. And things just get worse and worse. And as the story progresses, people start disappearing, bad things happen to people, and an old evil, an old curse starts to show itself. Brilliant supernatural book, really atmospheric, really well written, really quite creepy in places. Alan Baxter, by all accounts, is a really well regarded author, and the videos I watch, I just never see him mentioned. Definitely check out his work. He does have a small sampler. I think it's 2 novellas and a short story or 2 available on Kindle for free. Really check it out, he's a great writer. Sallow Bend is also fantastic. Yeah, I wish more people would read it because this book needs to be talked about. It's fantastic, so definitely check it out. So that about brings me to the end of this video. If you've read or thinking about reading any of these books, let me know in the comments and we can have a chat about the books. As always, thank you so much for watching and subscribing. It really does mean a lot and it really helps the channel out. But I'm about ready to get back to the car, so I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Hope you're enjoying what you're reading. I'll catch you on the next one. But for now, I'll see you soon. Bye.